Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wisdom Exchange number 12. What amazing Wisdom Exchanges we've had so far. We had an amazing Wisdom Exchange number 11, where I did a meditation for everybody and going into the subconscious, going into the different parts. So if you haven't watched that, you can watch that and you can watch it whenever you want, do it every day if you want. I find it really useful. Today, we're going to talk about doing it wholeheartedly. Whatever you want to do it wholeheartedly. That is what the legend of Mr. Singh said in the last part of the last video of that series, if you've watched that. And I just want to talk about that. So, in true fashion, I'm going to try to talk in this stream wholeheartedly, and I'm going to just try to express from my heart without too much logic, how to talk. So very lightly scripted. I've only got a few points here. And really the importance of doing things from the heart, connecting to your emotions, connecting to your feelings, and why that's so important, not just in a personal life, but also in a business setting and as a human being. So, why would Mr. Singh at the end of his life say that? He's been through a lot. He's been through uh, from his 20s into UK, facing a lot of challenges, being one of the first generations here, growing his children up in the UK, and doing his own businesses and shop, and then retiring. Why would his message be, whatever you do it wholeheartedly? I feel it's because you are connecting the very essence of who you are, and you're putting that in to your craft, the way you do things. And when you do that, everything comes together. The way things are naturally, the way you feel, the way you think, the way you're expressing yourself. And often when you see people doing business on YouTube advertising or, just out there in the world, often people are saying, hey, quickly, watch my video, do things like this. And if you five top things, blah, 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 or four top things, these things are good and attention, grabbing attention. But often people can put so much energy into their mind, they get lost in chasing the next thing. And, it becomes like, what are they doing at the end of the day? They're trying to chase some success, they're trying to chase something up here, but the real deal, like we went to watch Satinder Sartaaj, a proper Punjabi singer, the real deal comes from the pure skill. Yes, there's marketing involved. Yes, there's some mind involved in terms of organizing everything. But the real deal that people come to see, the bee going to the nice flower, is really for the nectar. And that nectar is that heart, that skill set, that natural gift within you. And that comes from doing things wholeheartedly. So no matter how much quick five things you try to do, no matter how quick you try to build your business or climb the ladder, if you're not doing things wholeheartedly, the true success and the true wholesomeness, I feel, will not come from this. And I feel from learning a lot of traditions, like whether it be spiritual traditions, philosophical traditions, or speaking to elderly people, doing things wholeheartedly has that integration. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was at presentations at school. We do slides, PowerPoint if you're used to that. And if you're in a science setting, or even if you're in like a geography class or anything, we are taught every time we do a presentation, talking to people in public, we are doing things from bullet points on a PowerPoint presentation, very logical, sticking to the slides. And we are actually not expressing ourselves. We become like a robot, like someone on the news, just expressing. And so in a public setting, we are actually kind of conditioned, or we forget how to express our emotion and our true way of thinking and feeling. Rather, we are up here a lot, making the bullet points, trying to make everything perfect. And that goes on to uni. People get nervous, right? Because as soon as they forget the logical points, they're into themselves and they don't really want to express themselves or don't really know how to express themselves through that logical points as well. So there's definitely an integration that has to go on. So the point I want to get to is that often we are not taught to express our true emotions and our true self in the public forum, whether that be in front of people talking in a presentation or in front of large groups of family and friends, etc. We have to stick to the points. And so the tone that we express ourselves becomes truer when we connect ourselves. Our eye contact, our body language, that doesn't come from knowing the points inside out in the paper. That comes from knowing ourself. And then the spaciousness that we are taking in between our words and holding that presence also comes from knowing yourself and expressing from the heart. And it doesn't need to be all emotional. It can be logic woven in there as well. So I wanted to also get that forward in how we present from a young age to the university environment, then to the work environment as well. Again, doing things wholeheartedly. So just some examples I do is like editing, right? If you've watched my YouTube videos, I still have to use my mind. I have to create a structure. Maybe my scenes of my vlogs are not in the exact same place. I have to use my mind saying, okay, how the audience, hello, one person watching, how does the audience like to watch my YouTube video, right? Make sure to tell a story. And then once I've edited and put the scenes in the right place, I switch off my mind and then let my heart flow and let my heart choose the transitions, let them choose the music, let my heart choose the flow of the emotions that I want the audience to feel. And that is that art artistry or that artist coming in where you're switching off the mind or you're having the mind in the background and you're letting your heart flow, you're letting your heart decide and you're letting your heart be the master. And that actually takes a lot of courage and bravery, not just in your life, but just in a small thing like music or in editing or anything like that, because your heart also has a certain level of intelligence and intuition and emotion that the mind just simply cannot grasp. So, and when I finish editing, I actually feel so much more alive. I feel a certain amount of aliveness because literally my passion, my heart, and my love, I'm doing things wholeheartedly, is flowing in to that editing process. So you can see how I'm using my mind as a structure and how the audience would want to see this. But then I'm just using that structure to allow the heart to pour into that. And the whole reason I'm doing the editing and the vlogs in the first place is not just because I want to get more views or want to be successful, is that the heart wants to do that. So it's really like the whole essence of why I'm doing that is heart led. And the way I'm going about it is heart led. And I'm using my mind as a structure to allow my heart to get channeled, if that makes sense to you. So if you're very in the mind right now and you're listening to this and it's like, what the hell he's saying, take some time to go inwards, connect to even put your hand over your heart and connect to that emotion, connect to that doing things wholeheartedly, and remember a time that you felt you were doing things from the heart, whether it would be speaking to your kids or your sibling or your good friends, or going on holiday and doing something you really liked, or just doing a passion. That fire and that passion is something special that we as humans have, and we can forge that and keep practicing that. So we talked about the presentations at school, we talked about example of editing. After I did the meditation of Wisdom Exchange number 11, I then did the same meditation in my work with all the senior directors, of the managers and supervisors. And, I was asked by my friend, how do you not get in your head? Oh, there's so many people with the high labels, high rankings. And it's again, that's in the mind, right? Everybody's got these labels, everyone's got these high rankings, maybe everyone has these judgments. That's all mind to mind interaction. But then going into the heart and realizing that everybody is a human being. Everybody has the same parts. Maybe they're burdened or unburdened differently. Maybe they have different interactions between each other, but fundamentally, everyone has the same parts. Everyone has the ability to express the same emotions. And so when we go into the subconscious, and when we go from that state, that I see myself in the other person, and that I am connecting to that heart and that emotion, then, when I speak to somebody and they're saying, oh, you can do, you can sell your meditation, or that may be true, or you can do more in your meditation, you can climb higher and do it with higher people, or, what's next? That's the mind saying that. But what the true success comes from is then connecting to your heart. How can I do this meditation exercise wholeheartedly? How can I be fully present? And just allowing my mind to get to that stage of what the heart wants to do, and then dropping the mind aside and being fully in the heart. And that's hard, especially for some males to do, because we are constantly in the mind. We're constantly trying to drive success. We're constantly trying to make sure the future has success, and we're aiming for something. But at the end of the day, we all die. And the main object of doing things wholeheartedly is that we're in the present and we're doing things from the heart. And our mind, again, is leading us to allow our heart and our expression and our talents to do things wholeheartedly. So, yes, the mind, the logic, and strategy is good, but it has its limits, and it's a servant of what we want the heart to do and what we want the creativity to do. It should always be, in my opinion, subservient to the heart and to the expression of our human being and our human character. So, again, if you're not grasping this, again, just try to start by expressing what's in your heart and getting your mind into that position to allow what your heart wants it to do. And so, again, doing that meditation exercise, closing my eyes, and just doing that for all of the members in the leadership. And then afterwards, there are comments coming that they loved it, right? Because I took them into a place where they saw themselves in that same place without their mind, just where they're able to see their thoughts and emotions at a granular level and just rest within the self, rest within the attention, and let the attention see the different parts that play in their mind, because often we're identified with these parts and we're trying to achieve success. But I believe the primary mode of what we're doing, especially as humans, if we want to be more conscious, is to be in that area where we're able to be fully attentive, present, and focus to all these different, parts of the mind that are itching us to do something. Whether it's, oh, I don't like what that person said, or I need to do this, or that person needs to do that, right? It's very judgmental. But connecting to that part and driving for that part, we are then able to put a judgment forward consciously rather than an unconscious judgment. And you can feel the difference. And so, looking at the great arts and poetry of the world, whether you see Michelangelo making his statue, and you see that and you say, wow, that's done with a lot of art, right? And heart. Yeah, it's just a heart with a he in the front. And then doing things from the heart, like music. When you listen to music, you can feel it. And from my own tradition, from the Sikhism tradition, I spoke about rags before, and rags going into the subconscious, and different types of rags, different melodies going in past the conscious mind into the subconscious and eliciting that certain part or emotion. And that's just the rag. Then on top of that, we have the shabad, we have the poetry, and the poetry combined with the rag hits you differently, right? And it gets that part stimulated. So doing things wholeheartedly, in Indian tradition, in the Sikh tradition, we call that bhakti energy. And so I met a guy in the Himalayas, and he sang with his heart, and he showed me the connection during my India travels of him and his daughter, and how he was able to connect his heart. And in hearing that, I was able to connect to my heart. It was very strong, and it's a real thing. And so, in the Sikh tradition, the ninth Guru wrote Salok. Salok means a composition or a verse. Number 9, Salok Mahalla Nova, and that has a bhakti energy. So if you listen to that, it's full of love, it's full of the love of life, and the love of connecting to your own heart. And so when you listen to that, you get that joyous energy. The mind kind of goes silent, and the heart gets inflamed. It gets inspired and forged with that bhakti energy. So, like you saw in, I think, Wisdom Exchange 2, there's a scientific journal where people are, I think, wearing a brain map or something, and they have different rags, and the different rags are eliciting different emotional uh, responses. And this Salok Nova has a bhakti energy, and it's again doing things wholeheartedly, and that comes from the music of listening. But we can elicit that in ourselves by doing things we love, whether it be editing, whether it be dancing or singing, whether that be investing or something. As long as we're using this, but the main thing is coming from doing things wholeheartedly. So if you're in your mind and you're thinking, what am I talking about? Is very emotional, is very emotional expressive. Realize that humans, especially if you're a man watching this, or if you're more of a logical female watching this, tending to that side of the personality spectrum or archetypes. Just realize that humans have a capacity to be logical and efficient, and strategize. And yes, money important, survival is important, competition is important, but to a certain degree. But we also have a other side to us that's full of emotion, that's full of emotional intelligence, that's full of creativity, and that's full of love. And that side cannot be ignored just because it cannot be quantified. It's still a expression of life, an expression of being, and that part is grasped through wisdom and through the expression, like they say, of the muses in Greece, of the expression through the arts and the music. So just keep that in mind and keep expressing that, because that will ultimately give joy. And at the end of the day, life is not a mechanistic response that we have to structurize and standardize and be efficient and succeed. Life is more of an art. And because life is an art, heart leads the art. So we have to, if you want to, of course, lead life from a heart-centered place and from a art. And that requires bravery, it requires submission to your heart by the mind. And that will take you on an adventure, and that will take you to the things that you truly want to do and build the relationships deeply, and not get you so lonely, not get you so stuck in your own mind, but lead from the heart. And just ending from the quote from the legend of Mr. Singh: whatever you do it wholeheartedly. So goodbye, everybody. Have a fantastic day ahead, wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.